At Revenge Pulse, there are nights that feel polished on the surface and razor-sharp underneath. A black tie marina, white lights on the water, champagne moving from hand to hand like a promise. Eliza Vaughn didn't miss her family's anniversary because of a fight. She missed it because she was treated like a risk that needed to be managed. And when a family can turn love into public messaging, the quiet kind of exclusion can land harder than shouting ever does. If you keep coming back for stories like this, subscribing helps our work find the people who need it. This is where her voice takes over. I was standing in my kitchen with my hair half dried and one earring still on the counter when my mother called. Her name flashed on my phone like it always did. Clean, certain, like nothing in her world ever slipped. I answered. Hi. Don't come tonight. No greeting, no softening. Just the line. I looked down at the dress I'd hung over the back of a chair. Navy. Simple. The kind of thing that disappears on purpose. Okay. I managed. What happened? It's not that. She paused. The kind of pause that means she was choosing words like she was choosing wine. We're finalizing terms with a private equity partner. She went on. They're buying tradition. They need polish. I waited. Then she said it, clipped and careful. Your complexity would dilute the message. My throat tightened. My complexity. Don't do that, she replied. Not tonight. Vanessa needs this to be clean. I heard movement on her end, voices in the background, a clink of glass. So I'm not invited to my parents' anniversary, I said. And even to me, it sounded too calm. You're making it sound dramatic. It is dramatic. Stop. Her voice sharpened. This is business. This is stability. I could feel my face getting hot. You mean it's stability for you? She didn't deny it. Stay home. We'll talk after. The call ended before I could say anything that would make me regret myself. We noticed how she never raised her voice, and still took everything. I sat on the edge of my couch and stared at the blank screen. My apartment was a short drive from Newport, but it might as well have been another country. I opened social media anyway. The marina was already glowing. A string quartet, black suits, long dresses, my family's name printed on a backdrop behind the dock like a sponsor logo. A text popped up from Vanessa. Do not spiral. This is bigger than feelings, I typed back, then erased it. Typed again, erased again. My hands were shaking, and I hated that part the most. I set the phone face down and said out loud to my empty room, fine. Not like permission, like a decision. I didn't go to bed after the call. I changed out of the dress, folded it once, and slid it back into the closet like I was putting something away for good. Then I sat at my desk with my laptop open and no real plan. Around 11, my phone buzzed again. My father. I almost didn't answer. Then I did. Hey, he started, softer than my mother had been. You okay? I'm fine. A pause. I could hear the marina behind him. Music. Laughter too loud to be accidental. This wasn't personal. He said, You know that. I stared at the screen. You always say that when it is. He sighed. You're taking it the wrong way. Then explain it the right way. Another pause. Longer this time. We have partners now. He said, real ones. Funds. People who don't care about history. Just exits. They look at everything as risk. And I'm risk. He didn't argue. That told me everything. They own close to half the company. He continued. They've been patient, but not generous. Tonight matters. I leaned back in my chair. So this isn't really a family anniversary? It is, he said quickly. It's just also a checkpoint. There was movement on his end. Someone calling his name. Vanessa. Probably. She's good at this. He added. You know that. She's good at making people comfortable. Yes. He said, relieved. Exactly. And I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. But it was. I looked around my apartment. The chipped mug on the desk. A stack of notebooks with dates written across the top. Work that had never once been displayed on a dock or framed behind a podium. "So, what do you need from me?" I asked. Another hesitation. A careful one. "Nothing right now. Just don't complicate things." I smiled, even though he couldn't see it. "I don't think you get to decide that anymore." Silence. Then, quietly, "We'll talk after tonight." The call ended. Not slammed, not rushed. Just set down. I closed the laptop. The music from Newport was still spilling into the night somewhere. I stayed where I was, hands flat on the desk, finally understanding something I'd been circling for years. We didn't own a legacy. We managed one. Vanessa called the next morning, like nothing had happened. Her name lit up my phone while I was making coffee. I let it ring once, twice, then answered. "Hey," she said, bright and even. "You disappeared last night." I stayed home. A small laugh. "Mom told me." The coffee machine clicked off behind me. I poured too fast and spilled a little on the counter. "You could have texted," she added. "At least let people know you weren't coming." I was told not to. Another pause. Shorter. Controlled. "Look," she said, lowering her voice. "This weekend was sensitive. You know how these things get." "I do." She kept going anyway. Everyone was watching. New partners. Old clients. It needed to feel steady. "I'm not steady. That's not what I meant." She sounded tired now. "You're intense. People feel that. Investors especially." I wiped the counter with a paper towel. "So my job is to feel less—" "No," she exhaled. "Your job is to not derail the room." There it was, clean, professional, like she was talking about seating charts. "I heard you did great," I said. "The speeches, the photos." "We did," she replied, relief creeping back in. "It landed exactly how it needed to. I'm glad." "Good." She paused. "Because we're going to need you." I didn't answer right away. "Things are shifting," she continued. "The funds want to see modernization, systems, something tangible. I don't work for the company." "I know," she said quickly. "This wouldn't be like that. Just walking me through how you think about valuation. High level. Nothing proprietary." I leaned against the counter. The mug was still too hot in my hands. "You'd present it," I said. "Well, yes." No hesitation. "That's my role. And mine." "Support," she replied, like it was obvious. Background. I watched a drop of coffee slide toward the edge of the counter. "Let me think about it," I said. "Take the day," she offered. "But don't take too long. The board wants reassurance." "The board?" "They're nervous," she said. "We all are." She softened her tone at the end. "This could help everyone, including you." The call ended on that note, like a favor extended. I stood there for a moment, phone still in my hand, coffee cooling, understanding something I hadn't wanted to say out loud. Vanessa didn't need my work. She needed my work to disappear behind her voice. I drove down to Newport with a list in my head and no music on. Not the office list, not the family one. My list. The marina parking lot was half full. Midweek quiet. I parked farther than I needed to and sat there for a moment, watching people move with purpose. Clipboards, radios, familiar rhythms. Inside the building, the air felt colder than I remembered. The front desk was staffed by someone new, younger. She looked up when I approached. "Can I help you, Eliza Vaughn?" Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. A pause. Then she kept typing. "You're not scheduled. I know." I replied. "I'm here to collect my property." She glanced up. "I'll need to call upstairs." "No," I said. "Steady. You won't." That got her attention. "I have personal research materials stored on site." I continued. "Independent work. I'm removing them today." She hesitated. then picked up the phone anyway, while she spoke quietly. I scanned the hallway. The security camera above the corner blinked red. Mark from operations came out of a side office and froze when he saw me. "Eliza," he said. "Didn't expect I need access to the auxiliary storage room." I cut in, the one by the old server rack. His expression shifted. Caution, then recognition. "They've been doing system cleanups," he said carefully. I know." I said, "That's why I'm here." He looked past me toward the desk, then back again, lowered his voice. "You've got maybe 10 minutes. That's enough." The storage room smelled like dust and old plastic. I knelt and pulled out a slim black case from the back of a cabinet. Then another, labeled in my handwriting. Dates. Versions. Mark stood in the doorway, arms crossed. "They didn't ask about these yet." He said, "They will." I zipped the case and stood. At the desk, the receptionist handed me a visitor badge I didn't take. "I won't need it." I told her. Outside, the wind off the water was sharp. I loaded the cases into my trunk and closed it with both hands, like sealing something final. On the drive back, my phone buzzed. A message from Vanessa. "Where are you right now?" I didn't answer. Some exits aren't emotional, they're procedural. The meeting took place in a glass conference room overlooking the docks. Same room I remembered from childhood, just fewer plaques on the wall and more screens mounted at eye level. Vanessa arrived first, laptop open, notebook perfectly aligned with the edge of the table. "Thanks for doing this," she said. "Already in work mode. We'll keep it simple." 2 people from the firm joined us. Then one of the newer partners, a man in a soft blazer who shook my hand like he was already evaluating how much trouble I could be. Vanessa gestured toward me. "Eliza's been thinking a lot about valuation models." I nodded once, didn't correct her. She clicked to the first slide. Blank, just a title. "Before we get into tools," she continued, "we want to talk about philosophy." The partner leaned back. "What makes your approach different?" I took a breath. "It doesn't care who you know." Vanessa shot me a quick look. I kept going. "Most pricing in this space is relationship-based. A broker wants a listing. A client wants a number that feels good. Everyone agrees to ignore what the data is actually saying." One of the associates frowned. "And your system?" "It looks at condition, history, comparable sales, refit patterns. Then it spits out a range that's usually lower than people expect." The partner smiled. Thin. "Lower isn't always helpful. It's accurate." I said, "That's the point." Vanessa jumped in smoothly. "What Eliza means is that accuracy builds trust long-term." I glanced at her. She didn't look back. I walked them through it slowly. No code, no architecture, just logic, decision trees, weighting factors, how certain variables mattered more than others, even when clients didn't like it. The partner tapped his pen against the table. "So you're saying some of our inventory is overpriced?" "Yes." Silence. Vanessa leaned forward. "What she's saying is that the market has shifted." I watched the way she did it, absorbed the friction, smoothed it out. When the meeting ended, the associates filtered out first. The partner lingered. "This is interesting," he said. "Very clean." Vanessa smiled. "We're exploring how to integrate it." He nodded at me. "You've built something solid." "Thank you." After he left, Vanessa closed the door. "That went well," she said. "Really well." It did. She hesitated, then added, "We'll need to align on language before the board." "Language," I repeated. "Presentation matters," she replied. "You know that." I packed my bag slowly. "The system doesn't adjust for presentation." She laughed lightly. "The system doesn't have to face investors." I looked at her then. Really looked. Deep Keel didn't flinch, and that was exactly why they were afraid of it. Vanessa sent the document that night. No message. Just an attachment with a neutral name and a short line beneath it. For alignment. I opened it at my desk. Shoes kicked off, hair still damp from a rushed shower. The apartment smelled faintly like soap and burned toast. Normal things. I scrolled. The language was dense but familiar. Confidentiality, non-disclosure, scope of engagement. Then I saw it. Derivative works developed in connection with Vaughn engagements. I read that line 3 times. My phone rang before I finished the page. Did you get it? Vanessa sounded calm. Almost cheerful? I did. Good. It's standard. Everyone signed something. I scrolled again. Slower now. This isn't standard. It is for us. A pause. For the board. I haven't built anything for the company. You've consulted, she replied. You walked us through your thinking. That counts. That doesn't give you ownership. She exhaled. Eliza, this isn't about ownership. It's about protection. For who? For the firm, she said. For everyone involved. I leaned back in my chair. The edge of the desk pressed into my spine. You're saying that anything I improve from here on out could be considered derivative? I'm saying that if it touches our data, our context, our market, then yes. That's how these things are interpreted. By who? Our counsel, she answered. The board's counsel. There it was. Not a threat, a framework. And if I don't sign? Another pause. This one longer. Then it becomes complicated, she said. For you. I closed the document without saving. Spell that out. She didn't rush. You'd be developing a system that overlaps with our business after advising us. That raises conflict issues. It puts your work at risk from you, at risk from reality, she corrected. You don't want this tied up for years. I stood up and walked to the window. The street below was quiet. Someone was laughing somewhere down the block. You're asking me to sign away my future. I'm asking you to be reasonable. I turned back to the desk. And if I say no, her voice lowered, then we'll have to protect ourselves. By claiming my work. By clarifying boundaries. She said, that's all. Silence stretched between us. I need time, I said. We don't have much. Softer now. The board wants certainty. I'm not signing tonight. Another breath on her end. Controlled. Think carefully, she said. This doesn't have to get ugly. The call ended. I sat back down, hands resting flat on the desk. My phone lay face up beside the laptop. I reached over and opened the recording app. Let it run. Not because I wanted a fight, because something had shifted and I could feel it settling into place. They weren't asking for help anymore. They were claiming terrain. By the next morning, my access was gone everywhere. The shared calendar rejected my login. The drive asked for credentials I no longer had. Even an old project thread returned a polite error, like I'd mistyped my own name. Around noon, my mother called. You've been difficult, she said, skipping past hello. I've been quiet. That's the problem. A pause. Vanessa showed me the activity logs. You're still connected in ways that make people nervous. I'm not connected at all. You're adjacent, she replied. And adjacency can be destabilizing. I watched a system notification blink and disappear. Another door closing without a sound. We're asking you to step back, she continued. Temporarily? Let things settle. Step back from what? I asked. From the firm. From conversations. From visibility. From being acknowledged. Her voice softened, like that would help. This is how grown organizations manage risk. The line went quiet. Then she added, if you cooperate, this doesn't have to get worse. After the call, I sat in the dark with my laptop open, the login screen still pulsing denial. I didn't cry. I didn't pace. I felt oddly steady, like something had finally lined up. They wanted stability by erasing my name. I opened a folder on my desktop, Dossier. Inside were timelines, drafts, early models, notes dated long before the first meeting in the glass room. screenshots of Vanessa's slides next to my original language, the clause from the document she'd sent me, highlighted,